I'll be the 550,000th person to say it. We should have been Bad Boys for Life, and the previous one should have been Ride or Die. I have now made the most obvious joke. We can move on with the review now. In this chapter of the franchise, Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett, once again played by Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, have to deal with a new enemy who has revealed to the world that Captain Howard, played by Joe Pantoliano, who died in the previous movie, was actually an incredibly corrupt policeman, and in order to clear his name, both of them go on the chase, but it ends up putting them on a watch list as well, and now they have to clear their own names as well. When it comes to this franchise, I don't think I've ever had a single bad experience, which is, ironic given the name. But I think even with Bad Boys 2, which is often considered the worst one and a movie that is not particularly good, I think it's actually pretty great, because I just rewatched it recently along with the first one again, and I had a wonderful time with both of them. I think Michael Bay did a really fun job with those movies, and now going into the last two, which have been with Adil and Bilal, I think what they've been doing is really great too. There is a certain style that they bring to it that doesn't try to emulate Bay's from the first two movies, but it honors that and it builds on that with what they've been able to bring to the filmmaking aspect of these movies. Going into Bad Boys Ride or Die, there was clear excitement, and which is why I will tell you that it remains consistently entertaining as a franchise. I think that there is something when it comes to all these movies which remains a consistent message. Like you can't really sort of take that away from it. And I think for me, what is so great about these movies is that both Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are both so good when it comes to that on-screen chemistry. You cannot look at these two and look at them as, anything as actors. Like in those moments, you're really looking at people who have been friends for about 30 years now. That friendship comes through in spades, and as partners who are constantly chasing down criminals and just trying to save, the good of Miami, I think they once again do an outstanding job over here. They're extremely funny and entertaining, but also the movies, especially the last two of them, have been doing a really good job of exploring stuff that's affecting them. Because a lot of time has passed between, the first two Bad Boys movies and then the last two Bad Boys movies, they've also done a lot of stuff over the years, and that's sort of playing on them. And so in a lot of ways, when you're watching Bad Boys Ride or Die, there are moments with the two characters as they're facing this idea of, as a conclusion, as what, where's all of this going, and the idea of how does it all end? And there's some questions that it asks, which I was actually kind of surprised by. There are moments where this movie gets a little deep when it comes to some of the character realizations. And at least there's some really fun sequences throughout the film. I was watching it with my friend, and I don't think there was a single point where we found ourselves not sort of having a silly grin on our faces the entire time. He was actually jumping up and down in his seat, and so was I after a while. There's a few moments which are just extremely entertaining, and it was great to see it on the big screen. And I think that also has to do with Adil and Bilal's direction, which is really great. It's extremely visually interesting, and it's also very creative. There are certain sequences, particularly one involving a POV angle, which I'm not gonna give too much away about. Just witness it for yourself. Beautifully done sequence. It's one of the best, things I've seen all year. That was awesome. And it just made me realize that whatever they're doing, I just want to see more of it. And I think that they're some of the most creative filmmakers that we have right now. This duo has done a great job. They did it with the last two Bad Boys movies. The stuff that they did with Miss Marvel, I really like that as well. And there are sequences over here, as visually striking and colorful as they are, they do a really good job of also honoring what has come before it, which is what I was kind of getting at even earlier. There are certain moments where you'll see the use of colors, especially in terms of saturation levels, or in terms of edits, which will distinctly remind you of Michael Bay's style. It feels like a perfect marriage of those two, and I really, really liked that. I had a really good time watching the movie as a result. I have one big issue with the movie though, and that is the villain subplot. I actually don't really care about that. I know you don't go to these movies for story per se, but while watching this one, there was this plot line that they built around, what's going on with the main villain in this movie, played by Eric Dane, who you've barely seen in the trailers. That didn't do much for me. I actually thought about this. I was like, why, if all of the other stuff around this movie is solid, but the villains, couldn't care for. And that is the one issue that I had with it. There were stakes that were established during certain scenes which were very effective. Like, there are moments where characters are in peril, and because we've had so much time to care about them over movies, those scenes were extremely effective still. It's just that the characters of the villains themselves I didn't really, have much to say about. Also, it led to some plot beats which I did see coming from a long while away, and when they happened, it was like, oh, really? Shocker. That being said, I still really enjoyed Bad Boys Ride or Die. I thought it was an extremely entertaining movie and one that you should definitely go check out. Take your friends, take your family, have a wonderful time with it. And honestly, if they do more of these, I'm excited. Like, I would definitely go see Bad Boys 5, 6, however many more they want to do. And, I will be there opening day, no matter what. I'm gonna give Bad Boys Ride or Die an 8 out of 10. I love these movies. They're just so fun. They're super entertaining, and sometimes you just want super entertaining. Guys, thank you very much for watching. It's nice to be back. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. And as always, if you like this, please do subscribe. And remember, ride together, die together. The rest.